You simply can't understand the British summer without understanding Wimbledon. It's a national obsession that's been part of our culture since the 1800s. Today, I'm helping you level up your vocabulary with what's known as comprehensible input. You don't need to take notes, you just need to listen to the story and let the language sink in naturally. I'll explain how a tiny local club became a global phenomenon and why the rules are so incredibly strict. Are you ready? Let's jump in. Chapter 1. What is Wimbledon? Before we look at the history, I should explain exactly what Wimbledon is, especially if you aren't a massive tennis fan. Wimbledon is the oldest tennis tournament in the entire world, and for most people, it is the most prestigious. It takes place every year over 2 weeks in July in a leafy area of southwest London called, you guessed it, Wimbledon. There are 4 Grand Slam tournaments in the tennis calendar, but Wimbledon is the only one that is still played on traditional grass courts. Most professional tennis today is played on hard blue or green courts or even red clay. But Wimbledon stays true to its roots. Because grass is a living thing, it changes how the ball bounces, making the game faster and much more unpredictable. It's often called the Holy Grail of tennis, and winning here is the ultimate goal for any player. Every July, about 500,000 people visit the grounds, and millions more are glued to their TV screens at home or in the office. It's a 2-week period where the whole country feels a bit more proper and a bit more excited. Mind you, it does coincide with the best 2 weeks of weather we have all year, so that might have something to do with it too. Chapter 2, the founding. To understand how it all started, we have to go back to the year 1868. At that time, a private group of friends founded the All England Croquet Club. Now, I'm sure you know croquet. It's that game where you hit wooden balls through metal hoops on a lawn. It's very slow and very quiet. However, by the mid-1870s, a new game was becoming popular called lawn tennis. It was faster and it was a massive hit with the younger generation. So, in 1877, the club held its first tennis tournament to raise money to repair a broken lawn roller. It was a small event with only 22 men playing. About 200 people watched the final, and the winner received a silver trophy and a small amount of prize money. It is a tiny start for a tournament that eventually became one of the most famous sporting events in the world. Chapter 3. Adopted into the culture. You might wonder why Wimbledon became so much more famous than other tennis tournaments. To understand that, we have to look at the late 1800s, when it was a major part of something called the social season. This was the specific time of year when the British elite moved from their country estates into London for a few months of parties, balls, and sporting events. It was essentially the place to be seen if you wanted to maintain your status in high society. The elite loved tennis because it was considered polite, sophisticated, and very civilized. This history is exactly why you still see people today wearing smart suits and summer dresses to watch the matches. It's a tradition that has stayed with us for over 100 years. Chapter 4: The Strict Rules. This Victorian history is exactly where the famous all-white clothing rule comes from. You need to understand that this is not a fashion choice. It is a very strict rule. At Wimbledon, players must wear almost entirely white. Even off-white or cream is not allowed. Originally, the Victorians thought sweat patches on coloured clothes were unseemly. So, white was used to hide any signs of the players working hard. Today, that rule is still enforced with incredible detail. If a player shows up with even a tiny bit of colour on the sole of their shoes, or even if their underwear isn't white, the officials will tell them to go back to the changing room and swap them. It's a very firm rule that hasn't changed in over 100 years. And it's not just the clothes. The ground staff are completely obsessed with the grass. Every year, the grass is mown to a length of exactly 8 millimetres. Not 7, not 9, exactly 8. They spend the whole year preparing the soil and the seeds just for these 2 weeks. British people are famous for being proud of their gardens, but this is a whole different level of obsession. The tournament also uses around 54,250 tennis balls over the fortnight. They are kept in refrigerated containers to make sure they stay at the perfect temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. This ensures the bounce is consistent. For a long time, Wimbledon was famous for its line judges. These were the people you would see standing perfectly still in smart navy blazers around the edge of the court. Their entire job was to watch the white lines with absolute focus. When the ball was in play, they would often crouch down to get a better view. And if a ball landed even a millimetre outside the line, they had to shout, "Out!" at the top of their lungs. It was an incredibly high-pressure job because these balls are moving at well over 100 miles per hour. Because humans occasionally made mistakes, players used to have the right to challenge a call. If a player thought a ball was actually in or out, they would look at the umpire and say, "I'd like to challenge that." When this happened, everything on the court would stop. Everyone in the crowd would watch the big screen for a computer animation called Hawkeye, which showed exactly where the ball landed. It was always a very dramatic moment. Everyone usually clapped in time with a heartbeat sound on the speakers while they waited for the result. But from 2025, the tournament is officially replacing these human line judges with Hawkeye Live technology. This means an automated voice will make the calls instead of a person, which is a bit of a sad moment for traditionalists. Chapter 5, Wimbledon Today. Fast forward to the present day and Wimbledon has become a global phenomenon. Every year, people travel from all over the world to see the matches. It's a massive operation. The main court, centre court, now has a roof that can close in 10 minutes, which is a huge relief because somehow it always manages to start raining even in the middle of summer. One of the most British things about Wimbledon today is the queue. At Wimbledon, we have a tradition where thousands of people camp overnight in tents just to get the chance to buy a ticket for that day. Then you have the big grassy bank inside the grounds where people watch the matches on a giant screen. Most people know this as Henman Hill. It was named after Tim Henman, who was the hero of British tennis in the 90s. Even though he never won the tournament, the public loved him because he was the first Brit in years to get close to the trophy. When Andy Murray came along and actually started winning, some people tried to rename it Murray Mound, but some people will still stick with the original name. Then we have the ball boys and ball girls. These aren't just random children. They are chosen from local schools and they go through months of intense training. They're trained to be like little ninjas. They have to be completely silent. They have to move with incredible speed in order to grab the ball. And they have to stand perfectly still for long periods of time. It's a massive honor to be chosen, and if you watch them closely on TV, you'll see they are incredibly disciplined. And of course, I have to mention the food. You cannot go to Wimbledon without eating strawberries and cream. It's basically the law. Over the 2 weeks of the tournament, spectators consume about 38 tons of the fruit, accounting for a massive 80% of all food sold at the event. To ensure peak freshness, these strawberries are hand-picked at 4 a.m. every morning in Kent and driven straight to London the very same day. To wash them down, you need a glass of Pimm's. It's a gin-based spirit mixed with lemonade and a whole fruit salad, mint, cucumber, orange, apple and strawberries. Around 166,000 glasses of Pimm's are served during the tournament annually. It is the official taste of British summer. Lastly, there is the quiet please culture. Unlike other sports where people are shouting and cheering the whole time, the crowd at Wimbledon is expected to be completely silent while the ball is in play. If someone makes too much noise, the umpire will lean into the microphone and say, "Quiet, please." It's a very polite, very British way of telling everyone to shut up. There you have it, the weird, wonderful, and very posh world of Wimbledon. Tell me in the comments, would you be willing to sleep in a tent just to get a ticket for a sports match? To help you lock in what you've learned today, I've put together a full vocabulary list for all levels along with some practice exercises. You can download it by clicking the link in the description. If you found this one interesting, please hit follow on the show as it really helps. Thanks so much for tuning in and I'll see you next time.